Hello, everybody. It is your boy, Gnarwrench. It's BFS Live episode 113. I'm flying solo tonight, and we're streaming live on Instagram and live on YouTube, 2 channels at the same time. We're going to do some Q&A, ask me anything. We're going to talk about skate parks and whatever you want to talk about. Shout out Plumbing Skater in the chat. He might be my number 1 fan. What up, Sin Zones? Anyone, feel free to ask any questions you'd like. I'm going to start the show by talking about the video I posted earlier today. I posted this video. It says, what do you want me to build? I got 2 projects I can do. I don't know which screen to look at here. I could look at the YouTube screen or the Instagram screen. So how do you feel about Donald Trump? That's a tough question for the podcast, Nick. I don't know about that. I will say my brother just had a daughter. Congratulations, Gary, my younger brother, bringing another one of the family into the world. Her name is Mila, and he made the joke that it was short for Melania, which I thought was pretty funny. And I told my brother, I hope you know that we're going to make this joke for the rest of her life. Beautiful baby Melania. So yeah, I am an uncle now. Which I guess if you're already a father, becoming an uncle doesn't feel that special. But I feel like if I wasn't a father, I'd be like, oh shoot, I'm an uncle. But being the skate park owner guy, right? I feel like I've been the uncle of like 100 kids, right? I'm like the Uncle Dave at the skate park, right? All right, we're blowing through some questions in the chat here. We got a question from BMX Coach Tom. What percentage of your customers are skate, bike, and scooter? Historically, I have been about 40% skateboarders. I've been about 30 to 35% scooters and about 15% bikes. Now, I stopped collecting data on that via sign-in sheet around COVID, so I don't have any updated statistics. Post-COVID, everything is really slumped, especially scooters. So I'm not really sure exactly what my statistics are now. So, there it is. I will say other sign-in statistics. If you go way back in this podcast before when it was called Breaking Free Speech, we went over several episodes. At the end of each year, we went over my demographics because I would track skill level and ridership. So if I remember correctly, it was always less than 10% as self-reported experts, and maybe it was like 25% beginners, and then the rest of the people were self-reported as intermediate riders. And I used to collect that data just so when I decide what ramps I'm going to build, I was making informed decisions, right? And that's the thing. Everyone in the chat is going to say, well, not this chat, but everyone in the comment section is, some dude who skateboards, who lives in Florida, that's never going to be here, is going to say, you need to build this. And it's like, well, you're not here. And so... yeah, you can't do the squeaky wheel gets the oil. I have to really know my customers and try to build what I think they want. And yeah. But yeah, shout out Jimmy in the chat. Let's see, what does Uncle Dave want for a skate park? What does that mean, Tanner? Do you own the parking lot in the front? I don't own anything here. I rent. I do control the parking lot in front of my business. We've done events outside before. The landlord's been very nice about that. All I did was ask, and they said, sure, go ahead and do it. Next question, do you get more traffic in the winter? Yeah, of course. That's a crazy question. I do. Oh, geez, let's see. In the summer months, let's say from May to August, I am hoping to do about $10,000 in sales. Now, if you've been a fan of the channel, if you've watched any of my content, you already know my rent is $10,000 a month. So I'm hoping to do that much in sales in the summer months to cover the rent, and then there's all the other bills on top of that. In the winter months, I'm hoping to do about $30,000 in sales, and that would be November, December, January, February, March. But your March and your Novembers can be very, very spotty depending on the weather. So, yeah, there's a rough idea. Now, like, I've had months so bad I did less. I think one time I did less than $5,000 a month. In my really good years, I once did almost $45,000 in sales in 1 month. But, those are the extremes. And if you go way back in this podcast to the old days before it was BFS Live, there are episodes where I go over a lot of this stuff. Next question. You should make Ben get better at flipping. Who? Ben Leader? I agree. He should get better at flipping. Tanner in the chat asked, what do I want to build, right? Okay, so he's going back to the first question earlier in the show about in the video I posted earlier today, which for context, it is October 29th. So if someone's listening to this later, they can go back and look at the video I posted. I'm either going to rebuild part of the street section or I'm going to rebuild this, I'm going to build this new spine mini kind of thing in the main section. What do I want? I think the mini expansion would be more so what my customers would like. I think a little mini spine would be cool. I guess that's not really the question of what I want to build. That's the question of what I think would be better for I don't know. I like the project of the mini with the flow because I've never built a bowl corner. I think it'd be really cool to build a bowl corner to try to figure that out. I think personally, for me, I would be very excited if the mini had the bowl corner and the roller and the mini flow spine because of all the things that still get me excited to ride in the skate park is the mini. I had a nice session the other night on the mini. So the have you thought about putting a deck above the foam pit to do flip drop-ins? That's directly above me. Yeah, Nick Parlett in the chat, you're right. I think that mini. Now, taking a step back, I could see people being like, well, you already have a 3-foot spine mini. Why do you need a 2.5-foot spine mini? And I think that would be a fair criticism. But again, man, if that mini had a spine in it and a roller, I think it would be so freaking fun. The 3-foot spine's still pretty scary for a lot of skateboarders. So I think that's what I want to build. Ultimately, even if people vote to rebuild the street section in the back corner, I'll do it. And then I'll just push back, and the next project will be building that mini. And either way, new ramps are good for everyone. Yeah, Nick said in the chat, having a progressive park would be dope. Yeah, that is the idea. That's like the goal is to have progressive features, right? The goal is to build stuff, right? Like I'm never going to be able to build. I will get to the Rome skate park in a minute. Are you from out that way? Stolen ZZR. Anyway, I'm always trying to build features that are, it'll never be perfect for one demographic, but it'll kind of fit the bill. And while I am a biker, the project I want to build most is a thing that's literally too small to even bike. So, yeah. Is there a vert ramp ever in the works? There's no chance in hell I'd ever build a vert ramp. No offense. Vert ramps take up a massive amount of space, and there's about 4 people that want to ride them. If you want to ride a vert ramp, there's a vert ramp outside of Rochester. If you know the right people, you can get hooked up with the right people, and you can go ride a legitimate 13-foot Tony Hawk spec vert ramp. It's in Rochester. If you want more information on that, DM me, and I'll talk to you. Yes. Rome Skate Park. Let's talk about the Rome Skate Park. I've had a ton of messages to go out to this Rome Skate Park. Rome is in, I guess that's central New York. Maybe it's like an hour, 45 minutes or so east of Syracuse. They just built this new skate park there. It is, from the brief research I've done, it has been built in memory of someone who had died. It's funny how many skate parks in New York State are in memory of riders who have died. There is a concrete pump track connected to a little concrete skate park, which is pretty cool. The digital renderings you can find about the skate park don't match what they ended up building, but you can find renderings of the new building. So their website someone needs to update their website. It's interesting. I've had a lot of comments on my skate park review videos. Go to Rome. Go to Rome. I was going to go there 2 weeks ago because in Syracuse, but it was raining. It was like raining all freaking day. So I didn't go. But I'm trying to get out that way to hit up the 2 parks in Utica and the skate park in Rome so I could review all of them. The Rome skate park does look kind of weird. So we'll see. Asphalt pump track would be pretty brutal if you fall on it. Asphalt's very cheese gratery. Yeah. Let's see. Tanner, what do you want me to make 4 foot wide? Something, he said. I don't know, I have headphones on. They're not connected to anything. That's hilarious. So chipping away a little bit more on the project. In the back section, if the people choose, if they tell me to rebuild the street section in the back corner behind the bowl, I'm going to do that. I do have some drawings. I have some drawings on some plans I wanted to do over there in the past. I got to go look and see what I've drawn up in the past. If the voters come out that we're building that, I'm going to post another video, and in that video, I'm going to say, hey, what do you want? What do you people want in this section? Trying to get some feedback. I could tell you, I kind of want down ledges on either side. So I want to have symmetrical down ledges left and right. I might keep the rail in the middle. I kind of would like some sort of maybe step-uppy, rollery flow thing for like the little kids on the Strider bikes on Sunday mornings. I've thought about doing, you ever see these A-frames? Imagine it's like kind of like an A-frame, but the one side goes all the way up and the other side's like maybe only like a foot tall. So it's like barely an A-frame. I think those could be pretty fun for little kids and beginner skaters. Kind of really good, especially because we already have the one A-frame, which I hate the new A-frame we built because it's close, but it's not where it needs to be because ain't that just building ramps, right? Shout out Landon Wells. Shout out Austin Johns in the chat. Yeah. Oh, geez. Let's see. Next question. I vote for a little more open floor plans, less sections, more transfers, but flow would have. Yeah. Yeah. Tanner, they say hindsight's 420, right? If I could go back, kind of redo everything, I would do things really, really, really differently. And it's really easy to look at the skate park these days when it's really not that busy and think, oh man, I could have done this. I should have made this transfer. I could, blah, 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 blah. But if you look back to the busier years at the skate park, say 2018, 2020, it was so crazy. It was like, if there was more transfers here, people might actually die. So there is that. In all the newer stuff I built, I try to build stuff where there is a transfer. It's a little more technical or a little harder to do. And the general idea is the rider who is good enough to do the transfer is also wise enough to know that there is a time and a place to do that transfer, right? We've all been to Parrington or Greece or whatever your local skate park is where it's just chaos because people are just going everywhere, So that's the trade-off. And if money wasn't a thing and I had more time, I would constantly be building and refining and just making sections better, right? Every time you build something, you learn more. My brain goes nonstop thinking about all the things I could do, the transfers I could build, the new sections I could build, how I could redo this, how I could redo the whole floor plan this way, right? You can go 1,000,000 miles a minute on that stuff. But at the end of the day, how much time do you have? How much lumber do you have? It's tough. It's definitely one of the more challenging things. Dickie Shorts, are you keeping the resi? I am keeping the resi. The resi is right there. This green wall, right to my left, maybe camera right for you guys. That's the resi, right there. Keeping the resi. Forever keeping the resi. Now, I was talking earlier about how I'd love to take the whole street section and turn it the other way. And, oh man, that'd be so cool. The little like baby street section would go up against the windows like it was way back in the day at RASP. The main street section would be a bit longer. You could have a left hip that would go behind the bowl. That would send you into the back corner with some speed to potentially have some transfer to make you up, to get you up onto the deck of the bowl. There could be some really awesome stuff back in there. But again, I'm only one guy. There's only so much time. And, yeah. Let's see. Question in the chat. Top Jimmy, would you ever mellow the transition on the street area on the vert wall? Yeah, so that's what the section we're talking about up by the Danzig wall. I said that in my video today. Here's this vert wall no one likes. So yeah, that thing's going to go. My thought is on that back wall there with the really tight radiuses in the video with the Danzig wall from earlier today would be to do a bank to wall, kind of like was there at the, if you guys remember, way back, there used to be just a straight up bank to wall there. I would probably do something similar. Well, yeah, Nick said if I'd volunteer workers to help, yeah, but it's easier said than done. I constantly put out messages and say, hey, if you want to volunteer, let me know. I'd love, in the perfect world, I would have someone who can come every day of the week. I'd have someone come in and watch the counter so then I could go do all these other things. But it seems like it's harder and harder to get volunteers these days than it used to be. Back in the early days, 2017, 18, 19, I had kids constantly asking. But there's so fewer young kids around the park, it's kind of harder to find those people that want to volunteer. And even when you did find kids to volunteer, finding kids that are, reliable and trustworthy can be a problem too, Next question is insurance a big hassle? For me, it's not a hassle. I've been really fortunate. My insurance deals haven't been that big of a problem. I have a really awesome insurance agent. I've actually I've consulted with several other skate parks who are struggling with insurance, and it's been good. There's been ups and downs. I've had to change insurance one time. I pay about I just paid my policy premium like 2 weeks ago. I think my annual policy for my skate park my business general liability was $8,200 in change. And then on top of that, there is accident coverage, because there's general liability, then there's accident coverage, and then I have to have manufacturer's insurance, which they tell me I need because I'm assembling bikes and scooters to sell them. So I pay that policy. It's not very expensive. I think it's a couple $100. And then I have to have workman's comp and disability insurance, even though I don't have employees. This might be a little technical, but my company is an LLC with an S-Corp election, so I'm taxed as an S-Corp. So I am an employee of the business while simultaneously being 100% shareholder of the business. So because I pay myself like a normal, I don't actually pay myself, because the method in which I get paid is normal payroll, I have to have workman's comp and disability insurance on myself. Yeah. And what is this? Oh, weird. Apparently you could use hand gestures to turn on stuff in the live chat on Instagram. That's bizarre. Never seen that. Let's see. Yeah, Rob. Everyone loves the bank to wall. All right, we're bringing the bank to wall back. Dickie Short says kids don't want to work these days. Some kids do. I'll volunteer. I just need a plan to run with. Yeah. Dylan Scooter said send nudes for free sessions. Do not do that, please. Do not do that. No, dude. The insurance. The question in the chat right now is: do you use a single insurance company? It is so convoluted and confusing. So, I get my general liability through a company called Sports Underwriters. And the policy comes through Sadler. That's the company. And then there's another company called, I think, Accord on the policy as well. I have no clue. I even talked to my insurance agent recently and was like, what, because the insurance stuff is really, really confusing. And even the singular general liability policy has 3 different names attached to it. I think the whatever it was, accord or a claim, is the general liability of the business, and then this Sadler is like the addition to sports coverage around the business, right? Because it's not like a grocery store, there's this sports, so it's like, yeah. So there's 3 companies just attached to one policy there. It is kind of annoying, but it is what it is. Next question. Worst injury and coolest thing you've ever seen happen? There really hasn't been too many terrible injuries here, believe it or not. Injuries at the indoor skate park are exceedingly rare. It is, on average, about 1 bad injury a year at the skate park here. Now, I can't speak to how other skate parks are, but that's what it is for me. Most of the injuries occur with who I would define as non-riders, in air quotes. And when I say non-rider, I mean someone who doesn't regularly ride. So almost every serious injury I've had has been someone who was trying it for the first time or did it a few times when they were like a teenager and hadn't done it in like 10 or 15 years or whatever. And that's what it was. So there's been a couple fibs. There was one girl at ladies' night who broke her humerus. I think that's the upper arm bone. A couple ankles, but the ankle is kind of like a fib adjacent. Really nothing horrific. Knock on all the goddamn wood in the skate park. There really has never been anything too ridiculous. Patrick Gannon recently ripped his fingertip off. That was pretty gnarly. I don't even know how it happened. He fell, his hand must have come down, and he's like holding his pinky, and he opens the paper towel, and it's like his bone and his fingertip is like hanging off the side of his finger. And I got to say, that was probably, I guess, the most gnarly thing I've seen injury-wise at the skate park. Yeah. And Pat's the man, and he's fine, and he's bounced back. I think he also fractured his jaw. He hit his face on the ground too when he crashed. But I mean, he walked out on his own power, so it wasn't that insane. I don't think there's any other really crazy. Sean Danik, who's been on the show, he got knocked out pretty bad here once. He was unconscious for the longest I've ever seen someone unconscious. And that was really the only really bad knockout we've had. So, again, knock on all the wood in the goddamn skate park that all the injuries stay very minor. So, yeah. Let's see. Other questions. Oh, he said, what's the coolest thing you've seen? Does your policy count for tax write-off? Well, yeah, all your business expenses go against what you would write off. So, yeah, of course. The coolest thing I've seen at the skate park. The coolest single thing, I don't even know. Wrench Fest last year was pretty crazy. That was just unbelievable. We had so many people here. The surf rock band, that was awesome. I gotta say, one of the coolest things I've ever seen at the skate park might have been before BFS even opened. The farewell party at Rasp Skate Park was pretty incredible to see all the people come out. I mean, I feel like I feel like you really regularly see really, really, really cool stuff at the skate park. You know, someone dropping in for the first time, the amount of kids I teach lessons to, the friendships I've made, the people that come in the door. I value all of that tremendously. So, man, I couldn't tell you I could tell you some of the coolest tricks I've seen done, but the skate park's not really about like who does the coolest trick. The skate park's about building community. It's about growth. It's about, community connection, family, because the skate park is a family. Like we're your family away from your family. So, yeah, I don't know what the coolest thing I've seen is. I guess just the growth. I guess seeing people grow up, kids who I've known since they were like 8 years old, seeing them go into college and, you know, come back with their kids, seeing, people that come in here that in my mind, I still think of them as a 12-year-old kid, and now they come in here and they have like their son is starting to skate. That's pretty crazy to me. Did you ask your wife if she ever went to Isaac? Yeah, I did ask her, and she was familiar, but I'm having trouble remembering that conversation. In the chat on YouTube right now, Dan's asking, I believe he owned a skate park in Wellsville, New York, which is in the southern tier, which is where my wife is from. And he brought that up in a previous episode, and I asked her, and I think he said he remembered, but it's hard to keep track of everything these days. You know how it do be. It do be. Jeez. Let's see. Tax write-offs, handled that. Coolest thing you've seen. Business expenses. Yep, got it. This guy got a brain bleed at Black Mama Skate Park. Launch of your DVD. What's that mean? Tanner, I don't know what that means. Oof. Doing a podcast is alone. I'm just out here rambling like a maniac. How long am I here? Half an hour. Pretty good. I'm trying to just do a 1 hour Q&A today and call it a night. Because I do the podcast here. We normally do 2 hours. And then I stay here and I edit the podcast and get everything done. And then I don't go home till like 1:30 in the morning. My favorite time at BFS. Whoo, man. This is a deep cut. But back in the day, 2017, 18, 19, we used to have these family parties every year around Christmas. There would be a Friday or a Saturday. We'd close early, and the park would just be for my close friends, all the volunteers who helped build the skate park. And we get food, we get some beer. Zippy would come in. Zippy's been on the show. He would DJ. We'd end up doing karaoke till like 2 a.m. Oh my God, dude, those parties, epic. So freaking epic. They were like magical. It's like the kind of the parties you have that are like, you'll try to recreate it and you'll just never have quite the magic. You'll have this happen with some really good sessions at the skate park or a good street spot, you know, where it's just like, you're never going to recreate. It'll be close, but it won't be quite the same. Those were epic, man. There's definitely some, as Troy said in the chat, let the bodies hit the floor. Terrell karaoke'd that song. Oh, man. Those are some of the best times. One of the years we did the Super Bowl jam, and we built a field goal out of pool noodles, and we did a high jump over the peninsula. That was pretty sick. Again, Wrench Fest with the surf rock band, that was really cool. Yeah. I think so. Oh, Rob Hovey's in the chat. You talked to Terrell the other day? That's sick. If Terrell's ever out this way, I'd love to get him on the show, man. For those who don't know, Terrell goes way back. We worked at RASP together. When we opened the skate park, Terrell was my right-hand man. Awesome freaking dude. He joined the Marine Corps. He did his time. Went back in like a madman. Before he joined the Marine Corps, he trained his girlfriend to basically replace him here. So when he moved on to the military, I had a replacement to fill his shoes. So I didn't miss a beat. It was incredible. And Cheyenne was a fantastic employee as well. She worked for me for a year or so. and she was in nursing school, and then eventually she, had to get a real job, and she moved on. And that time I had found Clark, if you guys remember Clark. And now my understanding, Cheyenne and Terrell, they're married. They're out west. They're like high school sweethearts. It's absolutely beautiful. You just love to see it. You just love to see it. Young people just doing the thing. Question in the YouTube chat right now. How many years have you been opened? Have you owned BFS? Well, let me tell you something. Every year on December 17th, or the closest weekday to December 17th, we do the BFS B-Day Free Day. And it's the one day a year. It is free to come ride the skate park, and that is the BFS B-Day. So this year, on December 17th, we will be celebrating 9 years of Breaking Free Skate Park. Now, I originally signed my lease for, I think, September 1st, so I'm already 9 years in, but December 17th is 9 years of being open. And we're here, so I'm going to tell you about it. This year, like every year, that day is going to be free. There's also going to be a benefit concert. I have at least 2 bands who are booked to play that day. It's going to be a benefit show for our good friend, Anthony Stockwell. He recently had a really bad motocross accident. I haven't pried on details because the family in these all families in these situations deserve their privacy. I know he had surgery. I know some level of being paralyzed is on the table. To what extent that is, I have not asked. I simply spoke with his brother, told him I'd like to do this benefit show. I said, as there's more clarity around the situation, and you have a clearer vision of what the family needs and what the path forward is, and we know what we're fundraising for, let me know. We have plenty of time for this to get this concert lined up. So this year on December 17th, on the free day, it will be a suggested donation. All money that we take in on that evening will be donated to Anthony's family in this time of need. And this is what we do. We're family here at the skate park. It wouldn't be a podcast if I didn't get choked up. Whew. Anthony's the freaking man. He was our UPS guy. Of all things. UPS guy. I know him. He rides bikes. He'd come here Sunday mornings. He'd come on bike night. He'd ride a 26-inch dirt jumper. When your UPS guy knows you, like, he's going to take good care of you. Great UPS guy. Great guy. And, now they're suffering. So, December 17th, come on out, ride BFS for free, and stick around to see some bands. The 2 bands we have lined up to play are God's Love, which they're not like a Christian band. It's like, I guess it's like metalcore, kind of like mid-2000s metalcore. I know the singer, he's very much into this, like, I don't know, it's like hippie-ish chakra. He's very spiritual, but like, weird, chill. I do psychedelics kind of way. But he's a good dude, and their music is cool. The other band is Krada. They are like a thrash metal crossover band. Their drummer is a good friend of Anthony's. He comes here. He's a friend of ours. Anthony, Alex Price. I'm sure he'll be on the show at some point in time. So right now, those are the 2 bands that are going to play. There might be more. I don't know. The problem is, I kind of want, I want the skate park to be open till 8:30 or 9 for free riding, and then the skate park's closed, and then it's like the music time. But I don't want to cut off the free riding too early, and if I bring on more bands, then it cuts, I don't know, because the bands are going to be playing right in the shop area at the skate park, so, you walk in the skate park to ride, and there's a metal band ripping right there in the shop. That could be a little bit of a logistics issue. So, yeah. We do have that hip-hop show coming up on November 13th. That is Elijah Rich. Nowhere Fast from Boston and Stevie Zolo. That's on a Thursday night. That should be a good time. And I'm in talks to line up another concert in the shop area. Paige, who was on the show last week on the Ladies' Night episode, she's in a band, and they want to play their first show here. I think that's freaking awesome. So trying to line up another band to play with them. And so maybe at some point in November, December, or early January, we'll have a third concert lined up on the radar for the skate park. And if all these concerts, it's all an experiment. If the concerts go well, eventually we, maybe this coming summer, we'll line up more concerts and raves or DJs or whatever. So, yeah, that's where we're at. We still got some people in the chat here. Any questions for the man? Let's see what we got. 37 minutes. Yeah. If not, I can ramble on about other stuff. Some other ramp projects I have on the back burner here. In the Ville section, the end of last season, in like the spring, late winter, spring, I rebuilt the middle of the Ville section. Either ends of that section are effed. Those things are screwed up. Those sections, both those ends need to get rebuilt or changed. That's on the docket for sure. The hallway under the mini ramp along the resi, I'm planning on building some like whoop-de-doo rollers through that hallway. I think it'd be really great for the little kids on Sunday mornings. And that's really kind of the main stuff right now. I'm going to do more bowl work when there's time as well. No, Dan, the B-Day is always on a weekday because there's no way I can afford to give away a Saturday for free. So it's normally on whatever weekday the December 17th is the free day. And if it ends on a Saturday, then I end up pushing it to like the following Tuesday or the previous Thursday or something. So that can only be so nice. Yeah, correct. This year, the 17th is a Wednesday. So it'll be on that Wednesday. Well, cool. We can move along here. I'm going to give you guys some updates on the status of my social media accounts because we're on the road for monetization. We're trying to make money on social media. So like, share, and comment on all of my stuff. I am monetized on Facebook. In the last 28 days, I have had over 400,000 views on Facebook. That's great. I got monetized on Facebook on the last week of August. So I've had September and October checks. I've been making about $140 a month off Facebook based on my content, which is great. On Facebook, I have 8,800 followers, and I'm getting somewhere between 300 and 400,000 views per 28 days. On TikTok, I have 4,500 followers, and I'm getting somewhere between 120 and 250,000 views per 30 days, and I am not monetized there yet. And on Instagram, which was my best platform when I started all of this, I have been stuck. I've been plateaued at 11,800, and I just hit 11,900 followers, and I'm averaging about 150 to 220,000 views per 30 days. Now, I'm posting the exact same videos on all these platforms, including YouTube, which I don't do well on. And I cannot really find any discernible reason, any data in the noise as to why I'm monetized on Facebook and nowhere else. My views are the best on Facebook than anywhere else, but it's not by a substantial margin. My growth on Facebook has been good and sustainable. The growth on TikTok has been good. Instagram, man. I rode a wave for a while. I was doing really good, about 500,000 views for every 30 days, and it just didn't really get anywhere. So I don't know. If anyone ends up listening to this that knows anything, I don't know. Feel free to let me know what the heck. Well, I'm not doing anything wrong. Maybe I'm doing something wrong. Maybe I need to lean into more viral style content that's more digestible to the non-skatepark people. I'm sitting on a lot of video ideas. Maybe I should just do them rather than sitting on them. Don't know. We still got some viewers going here. Any questions in the chat before I keep going down my list of topics here on my topic list? Okay, cool. Good story. Next week on the show, I'm going to have someone who I just mentioned a few minutes ago, Elijah Rich. He is playing the show on November 13th with Stevie Zolo and Nowhere Fast from Boston. I'll tell you about him in a second. Elijah, apparently his father used to do something at X Wheels skate park in Buffalo. He used to book the concerts. I'm not really sure what he did. He posted something about growing up in the skate park and then coming full circle to playing a show in the skate park. And I know Elijah, we play disc golf together here and there. I never knew he had any connection to skate parks or X Wheels skate park in Buffalo, which is a skate park I really am quite fond of. Rest in peace. So next week, he's going to come on the show and he's going to tell us about, what he did at X Wheels. What was his memories of X Wheels? What his father did at X Wheels? I haven't really asked him because I want to be excited and learn along the way. And then we'll promote his show a little bit in that episode. His music is pretty awesome. It seems, I don't know anything about hip hop, so take this with a grain of salt. It sounds like really traditional rap hip hop. It sounds like he focuses on having quality lyrical content. I believe he produces his own stuff, writes his own stuff. He told me he plays with a drummer and a bassist when he does shows, which I think is incredible. So I'm excited to learn all about Elijah. He'll be on the show next week. It'll be a good time. Dan Lewis is in the chat on YouTube. When is Iconoclast playing a show at BFS? That was my band in high school. I don't think that's going to happen because everyone else in my band from high school lives in other places of the country, and we haven't played together in, 15 years, probably more than that, maybe 20 years, I don't know. But if you do want to hear me play music, first Friday of the month is open mic night at the skate park, and I play music. Last open mic night, I probably played for like an hour because we stay late, play all kinds of songs. So that can happen. I love your skate park, but I think it could be more unicycle friendly. That's got to be a joke. And if it's not a joke, what are the parameters to making a skate park unicycle friendly? Wrong answers only. Thank you, Jake Bad at Drawing. He says he loves what I do. My wife saw Under Oath at X Wheels way back when. What year? Which version of Under Oath? I like old Under Oath. I went to X Wheels skate park on a trip where I came up to Rochester to visit once, and we drove to Buffalo to go to X Wheels skate park, and there was a band playing, and it just coincidentally, I knew the band, not personally. It was like a screamo band I happened to know. 2007, you saw Under Oath at X Wheels. Bro, that's freaking awesome. What album was out? Was that before they changed over? Hold on, let me pull up my iTunes right now. Your skate park reviews are amazing. Thank you for the insights you provide. Dude, no problem, dude. I love doing the skate park reviews. Let's see. Under Oath. 2008, 2005 was the only Chasing Safety came out in 2005. Oh, that was sick. So that was after they changed over. Oh, and changed singers. Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, thank you for the skate park review comment. I love doing the skate park reviews. I think most skate parks suck. I don't think they suck. I just think we are still in... I think we're going to look back, 20 years from now, and we're going to look at skate parks that they're building now, and they're going to seem the same way we think now about skate parks we see 20 years ago. I think the build practices have gotten really good. The construction's great. I think the design has a long way to go. But we could dive into that more on another episode. I think, to go back to the X Wheels comment, it may have been like from first to last at X Wheels or something. It was an emo screamo band kind of like that. I just happened to be there riding and I recognized the songs. Maybe Elijah will know. Maybe he will not. And Jake agrees with my skate park sentiment. Yeah, many of these new skate parks seem like they're trying to cram too many features into too small area. It seems like they're taking the community feedback and just giving you exactly what you asked for when what you asked for isn't really necessarily what's right, I just think there's a long way to go for really good skate park design. I'm trying to bring into the world of skate parks, I'm trying to bring in a few terms, a few ideas, a few principles. One would be user conflict, right? A technical term for how we define traffic control and turn taking and lane, like all those things, user conflict. You could look at many of the new skate parks that have been built in the Rochester area, and they all have user conflict issues that I think could have been mitigated with a few simple things. The next feature I would like to bring to modern skate park design would be, as I think Nick said this earlier in the live chat, he might have said progressive. Accessibility would be the term I'd use. Now, many people are used to the term accessibility when you're speaking about handicap, wheelchair people getting into businesses, right? That's the same concept, accessibility. You want a skate park where features are accessible to user groups. Now, not everything needs to be completely accessible, but for example, if there is no skate park in your town, no skate parks anywhere near your town, and you decide we're going to build a bowl that's 6 foot in the shallow end and goes down to 10, and it's and it's got pool coping and it's crazy, that's not going to be accessible for your rider base. There's no stepping stone for a kid to go from not riding that to riding that. Now there could be other reasons why you want to build a feature like that. Maybe you want to do a draw for tourism or something. Whatever. I digress from that. The last term I want to bring to modern skate park design would be sustainability, right? This kind of dovetails with accessibility. A sustainable skate park offers progression in a sustainable way, or things like what I would say would be unsustainable would be building a skate park in your area that's too small for the population density nearby, because it's going to get overrun. It's not going to serve the community. It's not going to be sustainable, right? If your whole skate park is just a plaza-oriented skate park where everything's 2 or 3 feet tall, I don't think that's very sustainable either, because it doesn't really offer much places for the riders to go. So, and I'm not saying this is going to be easy, but to design a skate park that minimizes user conflict, is accessible while sustainable, is challenging. And I think it would require a lot of time to sit down and design the skate park with purpose and with intentionality, and to bounce it off other people that know what they're doing. And I just feel like many of the modern parks were getting built in this area. I see them and I go, why? How did this get through? Like, what? There wasn't someone. It wasn't like you design it, we send it to them, and then they check it and they go, well, this could be an issue, or maybe, I think if the town is going to allocate taxpayer money to build a public amenity, skate park or otherwise, that I would hope whatever amenity that is the best it could possibly be, because they're using our money to build that skate park. It should be a good skate park, right? We've come a long way with all public amenities. I'm almost 40. When I was a kid, there was no town, no high school, anywhere near where I was from that had a turf field. You fast forward now, 20 years later, and it is very common to see artificial turf fields at high schools, at public rec centers, right? Scoreboards, all splash parks. Another thing, when I was a kid, I never saw a splash park. Nowadays, every town is fighting to have the coolest splash park than the town next to it, right? Skate parks can get to that point where the towns are competing to build the coolest skate park, the best skate park, and eventually they're going to be awesome. So we're just early on this trajectory of skate parks. Yeah, as Ben Leader said in the chat, yeah, all these outdoor parks are very plaza oriented, right? I always say it would be funny if in 10 years skate culture, bike culture, scooter culture transitions back around to where people want ramps and flow and big stuff, When I first started riding, you look at the late 90s, early 2000s, you look at skate parks, man, they were big half pipes, big ramps, big flow. That was what was in. Now it's completely the opposite. So, it could swing back. If it swings back, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, all we got is these plazas and people want to ride half pipes, Try to find me a 6-foot half pipe these days. You can't. When they build skate parks for aesthetic rather than for skaters. Well, in the conversations I've had with skate park design companies, these concrete parks, it sounds like they're entirely dominated with skaters. But just because you are a skater, I don't think necessarily means you're going to design the best skate park. But also, it sounds like, and this, you can go back to my episode with Always Hard Concrete and Baboon from Pivot Customs. He talks about there's basically, Pivot Customs is a big skate park design company. Many of these big design skate park companies have sales teams. So when they come to Rochester to build a park, their sales guy is going to go to other towns and try to sell them skate parks. So it sounds like they're selling more skate parks than they kind of can build, and they maybe can't keep up with design. I'm not really sure. I haven't really dove into that yet, and I hope to get guests on the show who can help build up some resolution around this whole idea, what goes into the design side of it. What I know about it is just what I've experienced personally through being on the board of the Friends of the Rock City Skate Park and having friends involved with the Parrington Skate Park in Greece and et cetera, et cetera. Ben said, the UK knows what's up. Every outdoor skate park has some box jumps. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I haven't been to the UK. Yeah, it's tough, man. Box jumps require a lot of speed. Speed requires a lot of space. Space requires a lot more concrete. Towns don't want to spend as much money on the skate parks. So that's always going to be an issue. Always going to be an issue. I think it's plausible that many towns can see, look at Parrington Skate Park. It's pretty small, very plaza oriented. If you wanted like a 6-foot half pipe at Parrington and a couple box jumps, you're going to use up that whole footprint really fast. So if you go to a town board who doesn't really know anything about skate parks, and one option is, hey, look at this. There's all these little fun features, and then another option is like, hey, here's like 4 things you could ride. They're probably going to think it doesn't look as good. I don't know. Maybe. I'd like to get a local politician on this show, someone who's involved with one of the skate parks locally who can tell me what was like on their side. I'd love to hear that side of the conversation of someone who doesn't know anything about skating or skate parks, but nonetheless went through the process. Our friend of mine, Mike, is going to come on the show. He works for a local construction company who bids on projects and was involved with the Grease project tangentially. He's going to come on the show and explain, what it's like from his side, right? I'd like to use this show to talk to everyone involved with the whole process of building a public skate park. So then when, Mike, who lives in random town, who knows what, in Indiana or whatever, wants to build a park, they can find this show, find those episodes, and then hear all this insights from all these sides of the story. Then when that kid sits down with his group and that politician to build their skate park, he's far more equipped than he would have otherwise been. Because a lot of times, if you look like a skateboarder, dress like a skateboarder, and talk like a skateboarder, and then you're trying to sit down with a, county legislator or something, you guys are you're vibrating on different wavelengths, and it's going to be really hard to get the good vibrations. Wow. All right, we're approaching our 1 hour mark for this Q&A. So last couple of questions. Bring back vert ramps. There's one in Rochester, if you know where to find it. Vert's crazy, dude. The amount of space a vert ramp takes up, the amount of lumber in a vert ramp, like crazy, dude. Will the shows be... All these episodes are all on my YouTube channel, on the Breaking Free Skate Park YouTube channel. You can go to the podcast tab or whatever it is, or the playlist for BFS Live. And ultimately, I'll probably end up making another playlist of just breaking up the podcast into different types of podcasts I've done. But I'm still a one-man show, so that'll be hard. I'm from MD. Got to make it out there. Maryland? You down from who do you have on Huckabee? Huckabee boards down there in Cumberland. And what was the skate park down there? He told me Skate 15 or something. I talked to them. They're going to come on the show. Rob in the chat. When's Zach coming on the show? Zach's the owner of Kink Bike Company. I'm going to get him on the show one day. It's going to happen. That's going to be a huge episode. Robbie Morales, the owner of Cult BMX. He's committed to coming on the show. When that happens, I don't know. If you're listening to this and you want to come on the show, send me a message. Everyone is welcome on this show because I'm always looking for guests. I've actually been a little bit dry on guests. I had a really good run there in the summer. And lately, it's been a little tough. A little bit tough. Our local skate park got a rework. It's not bad. It's small, but it has variety. What's your local skate park there, Jake? My local skate park is Breaking Free Skate Park. I'm in it right now. Oof. God, this is tough doing a show alone. I've just been talking for an hour straight. Feels like I've said a lot, but also said nothing. Well, after Jake tells us about a skate park, I'm going to talk about something I want to talk about a little bit. And then we're going to call it a show. We're going to call it a podcast, everybody. Dave alone, Gnarwrench. Uh-oh. My phone's going to die. I wonder if I can get a charger on this thing so that my phone doesn't die. Tuxton Park. It's an outdoor. It's been neglected for years until recently. And that's in Maryland? What part of Maryland? Oh, sorry. I'm trying to get a charger because my phone's about to die. Who would think? How do you plan your travels? I don't really get to travel, Dan. All my skate park review videos, I've pretty much filmed all of them on one trip or 2 trips or 3 trips. I have a second job where I maintain a bike share company, which requires me to go to Buffalo and Syracuse and Watertown once a month, every month between March and October. So all the reviews I've done in those areas have been on those particular trips. And then I went to Cleveland to see a band called Blood Incantation, which are freaking incredible. And on that trip, I did all the skate park reviews I did in Ohio. I did Jamestown, New York, which I have not posted yet. And I did, what was the last one I did? I did, Ellicottville, did the Ellicottville one. In August, I went down to New Jersey on vacation to see family. During that trip, I did a bunch in the southern tier. I did the Elmira video. Hold on. All right, we got Juice on the phone. That's when I did the Elmira video. I did Oswego, which I haven't posted yet. I did East Stroudsburg, which I did post. I did another one in Stroudsburg, PA, which I have yet to post. Maybe one more. So I'm still sitting on 3 or 4 review videos I have not posted yet. And right now I got nothing on the docket. I would really like to go out, as I said earlier in the show, I'd like to go to Utica and Rome to review those 3. Because if I can go somewhere and hit up 3 skate parks in one trip, that's great for me, you know. I just try to incorporate visiting skate parks on my family trips and just stack the content and then trickle it out slowly. Because people are like, oh my God, you were just here. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I was there 2 months ago, you know. I don't travel all the time. I work nonstop. I just am very diligent with my time management and mental organization. Not physical organization. Everything I own is a freaking mess, but I'm mentally organized. And let's see. Yep, sick band name, Blood Incantation. It is a sick band. They are like psychedelic, experimental black death metal. Really cool. Their album put out last year, it was called The Stargate, and it was like a really highly ranked album. I recommend checking it out. Highly, highly recommended. And, just freaking talking up a storm here. God dang. Okay. Thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode 113 Q&A BFS Live. Here with your boy, Gnarwrench. Living the dream. Great band, by the way, says Carl Satan. Blood Incantation, phenomenal. The other night, we listened to this album in the shop after we closed, full volume on the PA system. Freaking awesome. Fantastic. Last topic before I wrap up the show, I'm going to talk about something that I want to talk about. I want to talk about my life outside of skate parks and skateboarding and all that fun stuff. The farthest north I went was Pulaski, Oswego, Watertown. I didn't go to the park in Watertown because it blows. All right. I just finished reading this book. This is going to be, if you're into books or gnarly stuff, maybe you'll like this. For a few minutes, I'm just going to talk about this book I finished reading this morning. The book's called The Crossing. It's by Cormac McCarthy. He's an American novelist. He's won awards. His book, All the Pretty Horses, is his most well-known book. He won some American writing something or other award for it. That was the first book in a 3-part trilogy. All the Pretty Horses is phenomenal. And I just finished reading this book called The Crossing. And they're all set in 1930, 1940 in Texas, New Mexico, Mexico. And the whole context of the book is this whole everything is framed about roughly America is, progressing forward. It's industrializing. It's coming into modernity. But when you cross the border into Mexico, it's like it's still the West, so to speak. So it's almost like a cowboy, old school cowboy thing, these Westerns. And it's just gnarly. It's everything. The way this guy writes is very symbolic and cryptic. It's Cormac McCarthy's the author, and his writing is seemingly incredible. I don't know anything about literature, so you take that with a grain of salt. But yeah, if you've read Cormac McCarthy, any of his stuff, and you come to the skate park, come talk to me about it, because I read this book and I'm like obsessed with it, and I'm trying to find YouTube videos of other people talking about it, and it's just, man, it just reminds me of skate park culture, where like the way he writes about the West in the Western sense, it's about like, just if you cross the border into old-timey Mexico, it's like it's still like the late 1800s, and a man could just be a man. It's all this cowboy stuff. It's like really tough and brutal. And while skateboarding isn't really that tough or brutal, there is something about taking your skateboard or your bike, and it's just you and your device, and you're just doing your thing. And no one could really make you do any trick. I mean, they can help you, they can give you advice, but really, you're never going to drop in unless you drop in. You're never going to land the trick unless you do 100 tries to do the trick. And there's just some analog between the symbolism in his writing and the life of the skate park, the life of being a skater, biker, whatever it is. Oh, I love it. So that's my little let Dave talk about my life for 2 minutes. Cormac McCarthy. I've read Blood Meridian, All the Pretty Horses, and The Crossing. All are phenomenal books. I love it. I read Blood Meridian twice. Great book. So, thank you everybody for watching, for listening. In hindsight, we had, several viewers in the YouTube live. We had several viewers in the Instagram live. This video will not be saved on Instagram. It will be saved on YouTube, and it will be exported to all of the podcast networks, Apple, Android, whatever that is, Google Play. I don't know what it is anymore. Spotify, it'll all be there. If you'd like to support the channel, the podcast, Breaking Free Skate Park, everything I do, you can comment, you can like, you can subscribe, you can share. You can join our Patreon for as little as $5 a month to support the cause. You can make a one-time donation if you would like. At the bottom of the Breaking Free Skate Park website, you can scroll all the way down, and there's a little PayPal link where you can make a one-time donation. And that, honestly, that would go to my personal PayPal, so it would be beer money or coffee money or life money. But realistically, if you want to help me, comment in every video I post. It helps for the algorithm. And yeah, thank you. I appreciate your eyes. I appreciate your ears. I appreciate your sessions at the skate park. My comment sections on all my videos are overwhelmingly positive. There are haters. They're few and far between. I'll get like 30 comments, and it's like the comments in the live chat right now, Dave for president. Maybe one day we'll start, maybe with a county legislator, maybe as a local parks department employee, possibly mayor of Rochester one day. That's my life path. I'm either going to be mayor of Rochester one day, or I'm going to move into the woods and leave me alone and don't ever talk to me. Although my trajectory into local politics, I want to be able to implement I would like to affect as much change as possible pertaining to parks and recreation and skate parks and just getting people outside and living their lives. And if I think working on the county level could be more effective than that, then I'm never running for mayor of Rochester. So we'll see. Pipe dreams either way. But hey, I'm living a pipe dream. I'm sitting in my skate park, in my studio, talking to a bunch of people about who knows what. So keep dreaming, guys. Keep grinding, guys. Thank you for watching. I will see you all at the skate park later. And now I got to stop recording here, stop streaming there. I got 9 things going on. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything. I love you guys.